Hello, YouTube. So, I'm hearing a lot of troubling things recently on YouTube as far as like from the media and the left and the right. And I just want to lay some things out here real quick. To the mayor and governor in Chicago, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You are a traitor to the people that you represent. You take hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe even billions, from your people inside of Chicago. You then turn it around and you don't get this money. This money comes out of your check, out of you, whatever you get. This money comes from you. While you're struggling to eat, struggling to feed your family, struggling to pay your bills, while there are tens of thousands, maybe more, homeless in Chicago who can't get no help. But if I'm a migrant fleeing war, fight for your country, if I'm a migrant fleeing war, I come to Chicago. I get housing, medical assistance, food stamps. I get food. I get health care for free off of your dollars. If I'm an illegal alien, I get the same benefits. So what I ask myself is, how is it that the governor and the mayor of Chicago are saying to the working class people that pay their salary, that they steal money from, families that are not getting help? They're more interested in helping people who shouldn't be here, people who are not legally here, people who have criminal records, like that one guy in Chicago that they cried about on national TV. They're taking advantage of these foreigners, and I'm not talking about just people down south. I'm talking about all foreigners. That's Europe, that's South America, that's Mexico, that is Asia countries, that's Middle Eastern, that are here illegally. And they're taking all of this money from you and giving it to these people who they're treating like slaves. Now, back in the beginning of America, we had ourselves a little war over slavery. Democrats wanted to keep slaves. Lincoln and Republicans wanted to remove slaves. We had a civil war over slavery. And yet again, the Democrats seem to be the side of taking slaves and keeping slaves. Let me give you an example. On the news and in these hearings and all these reports, I hear Democrats yelling, "We need to keep the cheap labor and the farmers." Well, they did the same thing to Africans when we had slaves, or the Asians when we had slaves, or anyone else that when we had slaves. So yet again, the Democratic Party is arguing to keep slaves. I find this funny. The mayor in Chicago, a son of slaves, is arguing to keep slaves. And that's what these people are. They're slaves. They live in subpar conditions, sometimes 20 of them in a household. I worked with this dude in Arizona. He was here illegally, and I was making $16.50 an hour through an agency, and he was making $3 fucking an hour. He was a slave. He did the hardest work, got treated like shit by the boss, and he couldn't say anything because they tell him they deport him if he did. So we have over half the country, as well as the Democratic Party, arguing in keeping slaves, and sending these people home to their country where they can be treated like they should by their country, or and then come in legally the right way. Instead, we're giving them our tax money. While you have citizens, now this goes directly to the Chicago mayor. My dude, you are a disgrace to the country and a traitor. You are selling your people out to keep slaves. This is fucking hilarious. And before anyone gets on here and starts yelling about, well, you're a racist, you're a bigot, let me explain something. On my mother's side, my grandmother was a German Jew. She was transported on a train out of Germany by her family. They put all their kids on trains and sent them to the Allies. My dad's side of the family, down the line, I have native somewhere. I don't even know what kind. And so my ancestors were never enslaved, or a few were. 90% of my ancestors were eradicated, killed on sight. I'm pretty sure if you talked to my ancestors, they would have preferred to have been slaves than executed. So I don't want to hear no racist shit. Put it in the comments. I'll call you out for it later. But yeah, the Democratic Party is arguing. So let's look at the bulletin. Point 1. The Democrats are arguing and keeping low-income slaves. And this is okay for all these people crying about these slaves being sent home. I look at it as Trump is saving these people from being slaves. He's saving them from being treated like crap. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. I had to change my YouTube channel name to Fat Man Skippy because I lost the PlayStation 4. I just got a job and I'm getting the PlayStation 4 back at some point. But I was transferring my streams from YouTube from Twitch over to YouTube, but now I can't do that because I don't have a laptop anymore. I had to sell it. So I love you guys, and we're going to keep posting, and I don't care if you like it or not, but thank you, Trump, for saving these people from being slaves. I can't believe I would live to see the Democratic Party owning slaves. Peace.